Hi everyone, I'm Abdul Sidan Nazif. Today I'll be introducing our project title called Bellman-Ford Currency Exchange Profit Detection. A problem is given: a financial application wants to detect profitably currency exchange cycle using weighted graph by applying Bellman-Ford algorithm. So, have you wondered ever whether it is possible to make a profit simply by exchanging currencies? In international financial markets, currencies such as the USD, dollar, and euro, and British pound are traded every second. The exchange rates between these currencies keeps changes continuously. So sometimes these exchanges rates create a special situation called arbitrage. Arbitrage means earning a profit by exchanging currencies in a sequence without investing any extra money. So for example, the picture explains the concept of arbitrage. There are two market there are two market A and market B. In market A, a product is available at a lower price, so the investor buys it there. Then the investor takes the same product to market B, where the price is higher, and sells it because the selling price is greater than buying price. The investor makes a profit. This profit earned from prices difference between makes it called arbitrage. So, to solve this problem, our project uses the Bellman-Ford algorithm, a graph-based algorithm that helps identify profitable currency and exchange cycles automatically. The main objective of our project is to detect the arbitrage opportunities efficiently and demonstrate how graph algorithm can be applied to real-world financial system. So this is the website that we have created. The further explanation of mathematical concept will be explained by my friend.
So I'm going to explain the mathematical concept behind this algorithm. So as we know, when we get a negative cycle in Bellsman, the negative cycle works as a profit cycle. So I'm going to explain it why. First, we'll understand what the mathematical concept we added in it. So trader's path will be multiplies exchange rate. So every trader path will be multiplied. It will be in multiplicative way. So if you want in mathematical, if you go mathematical way, the multiplication would be hard to find. So we'll convert the multiplication to an addition. So the multiplication converted by addition way to the formula minus log rate. So it transfers the product into sum. So profit cycle has greater than 1. It will be easy to find. And why we are doing this? Because we'll get an effective way of finding the answer. So after finding the negative cycle, that negative cycle will be get the profit. How I'm going to explain it later. So now the algorithm, how Bellman-Ford algorithm works. So first we'll take a vertex and we'll initialize 0, and other all vertices as infinity. And for each relaxation, we'll go from one vertex to another vertex to with its present value and the weight of going from one vertex to another vertex and find its weight. So while going to one vertex to another vertex, each will get a value. So infinity, if that vertex is lesser than that, lesser the present value, then we implement that value to the vertex, to the next vertex. So it will be decreased by the vertices will decrease by each by 1. If 5 vertices there for first iteration, after first iteration it will be 4 vertices, after 3, 2 or 1, like that it goes on. So we should do for every passes, every time up to will get same value repetitively. After getting same value repetitively of each cycle, then we'll understand this is the shortest path. So after doing more iteration also, if we get another change of value, that is the negative cycle. So that negative cycle will be profit for us while the traders see through it. So we took an idea of 100 rupees, it is 100 rupees. After the exchange the value will increase more than 100. If it is 1 rupees, 3 rupees, it's more than 100. So in of end of our session, we'll get a negative cycle of 5 point plus decimal value after we going through the vertex of Indian currency, USD currency, European currency, and GBP currency. In this we'll find a negative cycle which increase the Indian currency rate. Why basically negative cycle gives us profit? Because as we know, at particular value it would be the shortest path of getting the currency exchange. But after why basically the negative cycle is used here as profit, so we can understand the way how the Bellman theorem, Bellman algorithm work. So we know that after getting the same vertexes value for after two iterations, same iteration of the last iteration and the previous iteration same, so we can understand that the bells we got the shortest path. But after making some more iterations, if the value changes, then that part is called the negative cycle part. So negative cycle part will increase the value for so we are using the negative cycle. So in the end, the negative cycle will give more money, means it will give more profit, so we'll get the negative cycle profit. I am going to explain the Bellman-Ford algorithm. So basically, I'll give an overview how this Bellman algorithm works. Um just an overview only, not too deep into the concept. So basically, this is an example graph. Here, A, B, C, D, E, F, G are the vertices, and the weight between A to B is 5, and B to E is -2. So we can get an overview how this basically works. So initially what we'll do means we'll take the for starting address vertex as or the first vertex as 0, which will take which will be given, or which we will take, and make all other vertices as infinity. So basically, then we'll check for each vertices to A to B. The cost was 0 and the weight is 5. So basically we'll add these two and find which is this greater or lesser than infinity. So if it is lesser than infinity, or the given vertex number, then we replace with that number. Afterwards we'll go we'll check for the each edge of A. So we check it for A to B, now A to C, and A to D, and we'll check again 0 plus 4. Here 0, infinity. It is 4 is greater than lesser than infinity, so we'll take that at 4. And 0 to 0 plus 4 from A to D, it is less than infinity, so we'll take as 4. Like that only we'll do for every edges in given graph, and for every edge the the vertices will reduce by -1. So basically, for after doing first step, after doing this, we'll repeat this process again and again up to we'll find the no changes. No changes. Look, in step 2 we got 1 2 3 3 changes, and in step 3 in step 3 we got minus 2, only one changes, and step 4 we got no changes. So when the graph gives no changes, then we can tell this is the shortest path graph. So the weights and the paths are mentioned. Look, A is 0, B is -2, and C is -3, D is -3. Like this is the shortest path. So basically, in the end, uh, what is the conclusion is that if an graph gets an negative graph loop like this, how to find that is negative or positive? We should add all this looping part, 5 3 -10.
So basically it will give a negative sum. So if a loop give negative sum, then it is called negative loop. So basically negative loop, what will happen means it will give no changes at particular change, but after doing 3 to 4 iteration or 1 to 2 iteration extra, again we can find some changes. After getting no change, we should stop initially, but because of this negative loop, we'll get extra answers or extra no change values. So that is the profit part. So negative loop gives us profit. So this negative, using this negative loop, we find the profit.
So the next topic is Bellman-Ford algorithm. So the graph of the Bellman-Ford algorithm is shown here. So these INR, USD, EUR and GPP are the nodes of the graph. So these are the vertices of the graph. So arrow represents the direction where we have to travel. So I will take USD as the first node. Anyway, we can take any nodes. So in this case I will take USD. So the first step is we have to initialize the USD value as 0 and then all other nodes as infinity. So this is the first step of the Bellman-Ford algorithm. So the next step is, so the value of the USD is 0, then the value of the EUR is infinity. We have to add the value of USD, that is 0, to the weight value, that is 0.083. So 0 plus 0.083 is nothing but 0.083, which we have to compare with the value of the EUR. So the value of the EUR is infinity. As we know, we already considered it as infinity at first, so we have to compare it with it. As we know that 0.083 is always lesser than the infinity and it is the better value, so we replace it with 0.083. as we can observe, so the distance is updated. So these are the nodes and these are the distance and these are the previous values. See, EUR is replaced by 0.083. So now we were in the EUR. So from EUR I will move to the GBP because the arrow is pointing towards GBP, so we have to move GBP. Okay, so the value of EUR 0.083 is 0.083, that we have to add with 0.88, which is the rate of these vertices. So the GPP value is infinity, as we considered earlier it has an infinity, so add that value. So the result is 0.211. So 0.211, why? Because infinity is much larger than 0.211. As we know, we have to find out the shortest path, so replace it with 0.211. So in the next step we move towards GPP towards USD. So the value of GPP is 0.211 plus the rate, which is 1.32. So we have to add that values and the resultant value that we have to update here. See, it is minus 0.066. it is the value of USD. Like this we have to repeat for all the nodes, same procedure like this. Take it. So see, one cycle is already completed. So then in the next cycle we have to compare. So USD value is already updated previously, so now we have to add the value of USD to again to the rate and compare it with EUR. So if the value of, this sum of these two is less than EUR, then we have to replace that with EUR. So and finally, so it will repeat till the 57 steps we have already calculated previously, so it will take 57 steps. So after the 57 step, what will happen is all the value will remain unchanged. At that time we have to stop. So at the 57th step it will remains unchanged. So these are the datas of the final step. These are the rates and these are the weights. Weight is calculated by minus log into exchange rate.
In this implementation of our project, we have used HTML, CSS and JavaScript. The application displays the currency and exchange rates of every network. So it also shows the currency of every country, like even the exchange rates of that country. Next, the graphical representation of our network. When we use next step, it shows every possible exchange rate. It checks if there are negative cycles. If a negative cycle is found, the application displays opportunity detected and highlights the cycle in the graph. The time complexity of Bellman-Ford algorithm is where V is the number of the vertices and E is the number of edges. This project demonstrates how graph algorithm can be applied to solve real life problems. Here, for a conclusion, the Bellman-Ford algorithm is to find the shortest route in many solutions. Like, for example, we have taken currencies. In this, there can be many countries we can exchange our currencies to. But our Bellman-Ford algorithm helps to find the shortest and give higher profit in the exchange rate. Like, if we have took 100 rupees and exchanged it to many countries, and in the shortest path, the final which amount we get will be increased by 5%. That is the whole project of our program. We have used HTML, CSS and JavaScript to demonstrate this graph, and we have solved the real world financial problems by doing so. So this concludes our program and our project. Thank you.